this out. Don't touch that browser. It's your boy DJ King Assassin, and you're in tune with DUBCNN.com. Keep it on lock for the West Side, baby.
What's good? We are live and direct, giving y'all that exclusive DJ King Assassin show. For those who do not know, I'm Pachi Geuvara, you know what I mean? And I'm here conducting the beautiful interview to give y'all the exclusive. For those that don't know, should know, would know, could know, DJ King Assassin, incredible DJ, you know what I'm saying, out here in the West Coast making big things happen. You know what I'm saying? So, King, I'm not gonna ask you the typical questions that most interviewers ask. I want to know, you know what I'm saying, what's going on with your projects right now, like literally right now, current events.
Man, current events. As far as the current single, State of Emergency is, state of emergency in hip hop, because that's how I see it. It's very right now a saturated world that I see in the hip hop industry, and I see in the hip hop industry there's a lot of rap out there that just don't really sound how it should sound, because of course I come from the old school, and of course new school cats would be like, oh man, what you talking about, what you talking about, y'all niggas just old school, Nah man, this is I go by authenticity of a record, you know what I mean? So State of Emergency, I got Cocaine on there, I got Ice-T on there, I got the Outlaws on there, you know what I mean? Code 187 from Above the Law, you know what I mean? That's a single, and we're talking actually about, cats that claim stuff but ain't really claiming it the right way. You know what I mean? As far as, R&B cats being put on a set, shit like that, shit that just don't make no sense. And they can't fool the public, especially out here in the West Coast, you know what I mean? So that's what we're talking about in that record. When you hear me, Ice-T, and Code 187, Eazy from the Outlaws on one track, it's incredible. And I'll tell you one thing, this is the longest track in hip-hop history. We are hitting the Guinness Book of World Records with this track, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So with that being said, is that in being put in place to be able to educate like the youngins, the young rappers? Because today's music, a lot of people have different opinions about how people sound, like you're saying.
Oh yeah.
So will there be any younger, generations
Oh,
involved?
indeed. That's why when you hear State of Emergency, we have like Wap Don Dollars in there. You know what I mean? Wap is on there. We got Young K9 from Santa Ana, he's on there, you know what I mean? We got OG Red Rum, who's an OG, he's been in the game for a long time, so he's on that track. Me and Sean Ghetto Flame were just talking about that, you know what I mean? The good old OG Red Rum. We got Havoc from South Central Cartel, and of course we got the youngsters, like I was saying, that are on there as well. So definitely, young spitters that really know how to spit, them flames like Sean Ghetto Flame, you know what I mean? So yeah, we definitely got that popping, and we got the movie Makaveli. You know what I mean? And it can't be done without executives, you know what I mean? It can't be done without the business behind what we're doing, and the business is the rebirth of the new West Coast. Now, in order to get this all out the right way and get it into play, you got to have, a team. Yeah. And
speaking of that, you know what I'm saying? We want to know, well, I know, of course, but the people want to know. Because I'm getting questions asked all the time, about you know what I'm saying, about the team.
That's
right. You know what I mean? Is it official? How real is it?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? What's going on with the energy of everybody's talking online? Y'all guys are creating a big buzz. I'm creating a big buzz. Right. You already had a big buzz, but the buzz is buzzing. So, tell us a little something about that.
About the team. Well, I'll tell you one thing. One of the most powerful that's in the West Coast team was always, Eazy-E, NWA, and Death Row. You know what I mean? So those two labels right there, Death Row and Ruthless, were always the biggest in the West Coast, right? So rest in peace to Jerry Heller. You know what I mean? Suge Knight, free Suge Knight, by the way. You know what I mean? imagine both of those entities coming together, because they were one at one point, you know what I mean? Suge Knight used to drive Jerry Heller around, then later became the bodyguard. So imagine that coming together again, because for the Jerry Heller estate and working business partner, we have Jennifer Harper. And for Suge Knight, we have Mark Blankership, you know what I mean? So them two combined together is the whole essence, the whole paradigm shift coming together. And to this day, we have them here, ladies and gentlemen, to talk about that. And I know you want to interview them and talk about that, but that's what we have as far as, you know, the executive-wise that's coming to the table, that's going to take the West Coast back to where it needs to be.
Right.
Because we haven't been there since there was a Death Row or Ruthless Records.
Right. Paradigm shift.
Paradigm shift.
Yeah, I'm feeling that. So yeah, what we want to do is, man, we want to get into the questions and the interviews with them as well, with Jennifer Harper-Heller and Mark Blankership. We want to give y'all, because you know I get all the questions asked because you know I'm not as famous as these guys, so I'm there with the streets. So I know what the streets want to know. So we're gonna get to that. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna let the streets know what they want to know and need to know. So on that note, King.
Ladies and gentlemen, without further delay, the incredible Jennifer Harper-Heller and the incredible Mark Blankership right here.
Of course, we're giving y'all that top-notch exclusive information on the DJ King Assassin show. So I'm gonna ask the questions that the streets want to know. What the streets want to know is, what is this paradigm shift? Like, what is you guys' vision for hip-hop in the next coming years and so on?
Well, our vision for hip-hop, it starts with a philosophy. And the philosophy is that Suge Knight and Jerry Heller started out together. Jerry Heller basically asked Suge Knight to be his driver. At one point then, Suge Knight learned from Jerry Heller and developed his own force. Both of them together developed an evocative, collaborative force that ended up being the heartbeat and the drumbeat of a whole generation of poets that spoke from the street and spoke cries of truth from the street. And those cries of truth emanated through the atmosphere and hit the hearts and the minds of everyone all over the world. And the basis of that becomes really interesting, because what that means is that hip-hop and rap have already changed the world, and they've changed the world in our hearts and in our minds and our homes. And so what we thought, since Jerry Heller had his untimely death about 2 or 3 months ago, and Jennifer Harper-Heller, his constant companion and his business partner, and the CEO of JH Media, in which he was a partner and in which Denny Deontay was a partner, have decided to band together with the company that I'm the CEO of, Everalert, and Jennifer is the president of, and have decided to create a new paradigm shift for rap and hip-hop. And that paradigm shift involves a collaboration with Kevin Harrington, who is the creator of Shark Tank and As Seen on TV, Home Shopping Network, and has a platform that hits homes in 300 countries. So our idea is to take content and music and media and embed it in merchandise and present it and put it into the homes and the hearts and the minds of people all over the world.
No. And with that being said, what do you think can happen once that is done? Once they're able to reach all these demographics and these kids are able to get that kind of history, what kind of effect do you think that would have on hip-hop? What's the effect of that cause?
I actually think the effect would be unity. It's going to unify all.
Love it.
All three. I think also without Jerry, Suge, Pop, then we can go down to Snoop, we can go to Dr. Dre, we can go to everybody. So it all will unify everybody together. And I think it will open the eyes and the minds of the youth.
See, to me what's interesting is, and I agree with Jennifer, what's interesting is that someone that grows up in Compton, or anywhere for that matter, can develop a certain poetic syncopation and attach it to music and share that, and that hits and touches the heart and the mind of someone in a whole different community, maybe someone in India, maybe someone in China. And so essentially those lessons and rules and ideas and ideals and values from that neighborhood end up helping and influencing a person in a neighborhood that may be on the other side of the world. And that's consistent with what Jennifer's saying about unity. The idea that this poetry of truth is a drumbeat of hope and of faith and inspiration that links us together all throughout the world, and is done with a sense of syncopation and excitement and in a way that we remember. So we're excited about the idea of bringing these great icons together in this paradigm shift and unifying the world through rap and hip-hop, syncopation, beats, music, and lyrics.
Incredible. That's incredible right there, man.
Yeah.
Incredible.
So the synergy that's going on between DJ King Assassin with your history, your legacy, you dealt with all the OGs, and I get it. I've been around the synergy. I'm a part of it as well. So I'm seeing like something just amazing taking place. And another question that I get constantly in my inbox is, are you guys going to be looking for artists and talent? And they want to know that part, of course, because there's not too many outlets out there for a company like this with this kind of background that has the integrity that these communities need. So, are y'all looking for artists?
Oh yeah, no doubt, no doubt. You know what I mean? I'm the A&R director for this, so, basically it comes to me to filter, then after I present it to Mark and Jen, you know what I mean? And it's just like Mark was talking about, we give everybody a chance. It's for the kids, we do it for the kids. We even do it for the OGs of the OGs that are still making music, you know what I mean? So it's everybody involved. It's a community effort, man, and we got to have, the OGs and the BGs involved, you know what I mean? The youngsters and the old cats, because that's what makes good music, you know what I mean? There's no age limit in hip-hop, and that's what a lot of people get misconstrued, because, in country we don't have that. There's Willie Nelson, he's like 80, 90 years old still making music. People tend to put that on hip-hop where you have to be a certain age. An incredible story is Jennifer, when she was telling me, and of course I knew the story already, but when she re-explained the story to me, it just brought like tears of joyness to me, you know what I mean? Because I was a friend of Eazy, and I just scratched on Eazy-E's records back in the days, and I'm going to let her explain it, because this is a question that people have all the time now.
Actually, you did a good job.
You know what I mean? How Jerry Heller actually met Eazy-E, which is incredible. So go ahead, Jim. Why don't you tell them that?
Jerry was representing the Wrecking Crew and was with Alonzo one night listening to some acts. And for 6 months, this little guy, Eric Wright, wanted to get in touch with Jerry Heller, a great manager agent. And Jerry kept saying, no, don't have time. So the one night he's there with Alonzo calls and says, Eric's here. Jerry said, okay, have him give me $700. I'll meet with him, sit with him. So Jerry walks out to the sidewalk. This little guy gets out, built like a brick house, rolls his sock down, $700 cash, doesn't see 2 words, sunglasses on at night, hands it to Jerry. Jerry goes, it's a good start. And by midnight, they were 50-50 in Ruthless Records, and it was born.
Wow. Yeah. See, a lot of people don't know those kind of stories, and it's beautiful to be able to get those to the youth so they can understand the origin of that. Now, another question that I have to ask is, when can they look forward to these projects releasing? Are y'all waiting for the new year or first quarter, second quarter? Is there any dates going on?
No doubt. The first quarter, we're going to see a lot of progress with all the different projects we got coming out. One of them is the Makaveli movie, which is incredible, and the movie is, of course, about Makaveli, Tupac Shakur. So that's in play right now. Now, what's incredible is, just the whole synergy that we all have, especially with Mark Blankership. His history is incredible too, as well. He's good friends with Suge Knight, and he's not just a business partner with him. He is actually like a friend, just like, how me and you are friends. Right. You know what I mean? And I'm going to let him talk about that because, he's dealt with the ups and downs in life as well, Mark. You know what I mean? Right. With dealing with, the court systems, being a, civil rights attorney. And dealing with Suge Knight. I'm going to let him speak about that because I think a lot of people want to know because they know about him as far as, oh yeah, ain't that Mark? That's the guy that bailed Suge Knight out of jail. That's the guy that, people don't know that was not done just because to be done just because business-wise, that was his friend. A lot of people don't know that's like his real
From the
friend.
heart.
From the heart, yeah, straight from the heart.
Right.
And then, you know, they try to stop that after a while. You know, people try to sabotage and be like, no, you can't talk to Suge no more, you can't do nothing about that. And he had to deal with that. And I'm going to let him talk about that.
Okay.
Well, you know what's been really wonderful has been working with DJ King Assassin and dealing with the great sense of symphony he has artistically and when it comes to his sense of inspiration. And he essentially has brought everyone together and has inspired us to move forward and is one of the great reasons behind the paradigm shift and is actually the person that coined the term. So we like the idea that there's a paradigm shift that DJ King Assassin has helped initiate and incite, and I think that Suge, even though he's sitting right now in a state of complete injustice, unable to even get to a court trial to prove his innocence, I'm sure Suge, if Suge were able to talk, would be very happy to hear that we're joining forces, that we're trying to create this voice of truth from the street.
Right.
And he'd be very inspired that Tupac was coming back through the Makaveli movie with the great efforts of DJ King Assassin as a producer. And so the whole idea, I'm sure, for Suge would be that finally justice can be served. And I remember sitting with Suge many, many times and him talking about how rap influences our society, our children, our teenagers in very positive ways and how it brings us together harmoniously in much the same way that Jennifer speaks about harmony. And so we are very excited about the prospect of liberating Suge's music through his artists and his voice and putting him in a place where he can actually participate positively as we evolve this project.
Right. So many people have a certain perception about Suge, you know, that we obviously know, a different side from, you guys' relationship and the realness, you know what I'm saying? So what can you tell us for the person out there that thinks Suge is this boogeyman and observes what he's doing?
I can tell you some stories. I remember one day in an office with a lot of lawyers involving a litigation with Rick Ross and Freeway Rick Ross. I remember that litigation day. And I remember walking into an office with 7 or 8 high-powered entertainment lawyers, litigation lawyers, and the real Rick Ross in that office, basically. And I remember walking in with Suge and having Suge be asked to explain the way the rap industry works. And I have never, and I'm a graduate of Yale University, and I've never in my entire life listened to a more elegant, well-presented, almost professorial dissertation on how the rap business and the music business works. And those lawyers who were initially sitting kind of slumped stood up in rapt attention like that, and they were absolutely blown away by his articulation and by his insight and his sense of wisdom and judgment. So the Suge that I know is that Suge, and is not this big boogeyman that everyone wants to portray him as. He's a person that has a lot to say, and I would, if I could describe one word to talk about Suge, I would say that he is prescient. And prescience is the idea to be able to see the future. Right. And his actions have proven that, and I think that that's the Suge that I know.
People want to know, from you, why is that happening? Like, why is that boogeyman factor there, and why is he being treated that way?
Well, I have my own opinion about that, right, based on my understanding of the way the world works. Okay. And that may not be relevant, but I do know that there are forces at work constantly when there is greatness about to happen. And I think that we can't ask anything else of the saga of Suge Knight. Right. We can't expect anyone who has had such a tremendously formative impact on our society when it comes to the liberation of lyrics and beats and music from the street. Right. He's probably responsible for the sale of more tracks than the Beatles and Elvis combined. Right. We can't expect a person like that to have a normal impact on most people. Right. To be able to see that as a visionary invites persecution, invites retaliation, invites retribution, jealousy, and a lot of different kinds of problems. It also invites greatness, and it invites historical impacts, and it makes a big difference in the world. So with one opportunity comes the consequences, and Suge, unfortunately, is going through a difficult time. The new paradigm shift that we're proposing is going to involve efforts to liberate Suge Knight and help his voice be heard yet again.
Beautiful, beautiful. Y'all hear that? You know what I mean? Exclusive information, incredible paradigm shift, coined by my boy DJ King Assassin. You know what I'm saying? And King, I got a question for you, and then I'll lead back to them, and we, you know, draw to some beautiful conclusions. What has it been like working with an executive with that kind of integrity, Mr. Blankership as well as Jennifer? How has it been? Like, what's been going on? Because people seeing you on the jet, you know what I'm saying? People are watching the movements, you know what I mean? This has been crazy since TMZ. And you know, I've been around, but I'm speaking for the people. They want to know what the hell is going on.
Man, it's been an incredible situation because, you know, being around Mark and Jen has just, you know, changed my whole way of business, you know what I mean? Because before I was just, you know, out there doing a lot of different things and never had the guidance that they put me into. So, you know, it's a blessing, it's an honor at the same time to be around what they've done for me and the different dynamics, even with Kevin Harrington coming into the picture. I mean, we're talking, you know, as seen on TV, the maker of infomercials and stuff like that. We're talking about Suge Knight's best friend and Jerry Heller's estate right here, and she broke deals for Jerry Heller, you know, and these were the type of people that I grew up around, you know what I mean, but I never got to work directly as far as, you know, close with them how I should have, especially when Jerry was alive. You know, Jerry would take me out to eat, he would, you know, had so much love for me, we were going to work in the future. The closest thing I did was doing the scratching on Eazy-E's album, but I never, you know, was part of like Ruthless, like signed, you know, but
so like
we always want, it's full circle right now. And the same with Suge Knight. I have contracts from Suge where he wanted to sign me too. It just, you know, the time and place where, you know, things happen to people and whatnot, you know, court appearances, you know, about that kind of like, you know, breaks, you know, the whole things of things happening in order. But now it's like this whole 360 paradigm shift that we're seeing right now, which allows me that. So it's a dream come true to be working with Mark Blankership and Jennifer Harper, you know what I mean, Heller. So right now it's just a dream come true, man. And you know, I thank God, you know what I mean?
And they have mega projects going on.
Right.
So, and you have mega projects going on, like you have the Nick Cannon, right?
Right.
The
Loose
Cannons. And you also have the Wyclef. So, but at the same time, you also service the streets. Like you help so many independent artists.
Right.
So how is that going to go forward with this relationship? With you guys forming this juggernaut? You know, what is the vision going forward with that? Are there like certain...
Well, it's just like, I mean, the key word that you said right there is vision, you know what I mean? Because it is vision, you know, visionaries. And, you know, with Jennifer Harper, she actually started, and she's working with that. And I don't know if I can talk about it right now, but I think she can explain it better than me.
I don't know what projects that, you know what I'm saying, should be out there and shouldn't, but... We can't tell y'all everything. We just put it like that. Some of this shit y'all gotta watch. All right. We had to take a break and come back. All right. So go to work. All right. So what we want to do though is we want to bring it to a conclusion until the next exclusive interview. We have a special request from Set Shakur, Pac's sister, my family, my loved ones, Free Matula Shakur. I'm going to see if I can have a conversation with Mark to help with the petition. The petition has a lot of signatures, and I think last time I checked, we only needed like 180 something more signatures. So please go to King Assassin's page. The link will be there. Free Matula by signing that petition.
All we need now is only 80 more signatures.
Oh, it's down to 80.
Only 80 more signatures, and we are striggity.
Right,
you know what I mean? Free Matula Shakur, free Suge Knight, free the nation, free the ones that, man, that need to be free. That's why we have civil rights, man, here.
Yes.
You dig? Mr. Mark Blankership, Jennifer Harper, we thank you. Ghetto Flame TV, we thank you. Also, DUBCNN, we thank you.
Yes.
here, mama. What you say about my mother, man?